radical left has done tremendous damage to the country, but we're fixing it. Most of the violence is on the left.
It doesn't matter if it's coming from one side or from the other, directed at one party or another. It is all wrong. We have a responsibility to be clear and unequivocal in calling out all forms of political violence.
Well, tonight in our Common Ground segment, a conversation on bringing the nation together, or trying to restore civility in politics. Joining me, Pennsylvania Senators Dave McCormick and John Fetterman. Pennsylvania, by the way, is one of only 3 states with a Democrat and Republican split in the U.S. Senate. Senators, thanks for being here. You all called me. Usually we reach out. You wanted to do this together. Yeah. Why?
Well, I mean, we thought it was just a great idea. I think it's an important idea right now. I mean, the trauma after the Charlie Kirk assassination, and now as things continue now, it's like I feel like it's important that people can witness, you know, a Democrat and a Republican having a conversation after this. It's absolutely horrific, and it's entirely necessary to allow people to grieve for that. I mean, everyone's seen the video, and so.
Yeah, it's just the heartbreak you feel for Charlie Kirk's family, Eric and their children, and all the students across the country, the people across the country that were huge followers. And I think the senator and I agreed that, and we do agree that there's just no place in this country for political violence. It's absolutely something. It runs counter to the very idea of free speech and freedom, and that when you see dangerous rhetoric like fascist and Nazism and authoritarianism, and the end of democracy. That's a permission. That takes us down a path where the inevitable next step is violence, and that's what we see.
And Senator Fetterman, you've talked about that recently, calling somebody Hitler, calling somebody Nazis.
Yeah, exactly. This idea. It's like, do not ever compare anyone to Hitler. If not, go online and you can read up on exactly what he's responsible for. You know, 75 to 80 million lives lost in World War II, and you don't compare him to anyone. And if you do, then you will incite somebody to say, well, now I feel like I have to stop that and take them out. People have seemed to have forgotten that the president took a shot to the head. And can you imagine if that shot would have gone the way Charlie Kirk's one, and what kind of condition our nation would be in? This is such a dangerous time right now. And now why? You don't need this an opportunity to share your opinions on it. Just, again, it's appalling, and allow folks enough space to grieve. The man hasn't even been buried yet. And it's like, that's why we wanted to have a conversation, that we have to find a way to work together.
Do you think that when you look out at some on the left, and especially the far left, in reaction to this moment, you've spoken out about that?
Well, I mean, I'm consistent about that. You know, any kinds of extreme rhetoric, left or right, is really dangerous. And now it's just Luigi had his latest thing, and now there's people on the very left on my side cheering him, and raised over $1 million for his legal fund. It's like, this coward executed a father and a businessman just because you happen to disagree with his business. Now that's, you know, keep having these kinds of arguments. Well, guess what? The next one's going to be on you, and you'll end up on the sidewalk. Then we have to it's just unacceptable, and we have to just absolutely turn the heat down.
You know, you've been getting heat from some in your party saying you've been criticizing Democrats, and we talked about this back in June. You all had this Senate project moment at the Kennedy Institute. Take a listen.
Senator McCormick, you've come to Senate Fetterman's defense in a number of recent articles that have had questions about how he's doing his job.
Of course, he did defend me through that, and he actually asked me, it's like, is it okay to defend you? I don't want that to create more political problems.
Thought it might hurt him.
Yeah, he did. And I'm like, no, I appreciate that.
We have many disagreements, but the thing we both agree on, I think, is that it's an honor to serve Pennsylvania. We want to work together to do great things together whenever we can.
So, I mean, you kind of stood up for him in the face of some of that criticism.
I feel like we are on different political sides. We disagree on many things, but we also trust one another. And we can work together for the people of Pennsylvania, we do it, and not only do I trust him, we're friends. And just because we disagree on a lot of things doesn't mean we can't be friends. And this political violence, I feel it very deeply. I was a few feet away when President Trump was shot. Our governor, our governor in Pennsylvania had his family assaulted with an arson attack. I was friends with Charlie Kirk. So this hits me in a very personal way. And I guess what I would say is there's political violence and rhetoric on both sides. But I do believe that we're seeing this trend on the fringe left where you're using terms like Nazism, like fascism. We went to World War II to defeat Nazism and fascism. This is going to war to create those things. That gives us a permit, and we're seeing it. We see it in the survey data, YouGov. I'm sure you have that data. 25% of very liberal people surveyed said that political violence is okay to promote a political objective. It's about 3% of very conservative. And you see it in this horrible uprising of celebration, tens of thousands of people celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. So I think it's something where Senator Fetterman and I are trying to step back and say, listen, our country depends on the kind of free speech, commitment to freedom that Charlie Kirk was actually doing that day in Utah.
Yeah, and there's this talk about free speech. The Attorney General kind of walked back. She said hate speech and free speech, and she said that it can't go to essentially anything that goes to violence is not protected by the First Amendment. Charlie Kirk, on all speech, he tweeted out in May of 24, hate speech does not exist legally in America. There's ugly speech, there's gross speech, there's evil speech, and all of it is protected by the First Amendment. Keep America free. So there is this balance of speech and how far you go and what you cancel or take off the table. But in our country, free speech is protected.
Well, for me, it's like, don't ever compare someone to Hitler or make an argument that, someone here is an equivalent of Hitler. Or if you're going to call someone a fascist, or these kinds of extreme labels, now you are cheapening our language and making it seem now these very specific kinds of terms. And now I get hit for just to say, like, look, you can criticize the president's, and I do, certain policies and these things. I don't disagree with these things. I vote against these things. But that does not, and I'm not going to use and engage in that kinds of extreme thing. And yes, it's free speech, but free speech, there comes a responsibility, because that could lead to some kinds of outcomes that someone can get dead or attacked, and that's absolutely unacceptable. And that's why we want to have this conversation, because we have to work together and we have to find a way together. And Pennsylvania is the kind of state that keeps you honest on that. And you can't pretend that our neighbor and our other neighbor could have voted differently and have different values. That doesn't mean that they love our country any more than we do. We all love our country. I believe that we're all Americans, and we have to disagree, but in a nice way.
What do you think spurs on this political violence? Do you think, I talked to Governor Cox from Utah, and he said social media has gone into dark places. What do you think is behind this?
I personally think you have to get to the very root cause, and I think the root cause is what the senator was just speaking of. If you dehumanize your adversary, if you say they're Hitler, you say it's fascism, if you say that the end of democracy is right in front of us, then that lays open the possibility that, well, that's something that you have to confront. That's an evil that justifies violence. So I think that's the core problem. Now, I think social media has the capacity to amplify that. So it creates an echo chamber. But I think at the core is this basic fundamental thing that is core to America. It's what Charlie Kirk said, is what the senator said, which is the ability to disagree with your adversary, but not hate them, not make them the enemy, is at the core of America. And listen, we're in a state where half the people voted for me, half didn't. We're very, very divided as a state. I get horrible things said about me on social media, so does Senator Fetterman. We got to get above that as a country. And the first step is, I think, stopping this kind of hijacking the language and inciting political violence.
You guys do work together on some things. You're opposed to each other on some different topics. You're getting ready for facing another fiscal cliff and a possible government shutdown. Is it going to?
Well, I just put this, I spoke about this just on socials. I just dropped this idea. Like, I absolutely fully support extending the tax credits for the ACA, but I refuse absolutely to vote for anything whether that's to shut our government down. I can agree and strongly believe in something, but that it's unacceptable to hold the government, opening or closing as a hostage, and I refuse to be part of it. So that's going to be where we're at, and I've been very clear on that. It would be wrong if the Republican side would do that. It'd be wrong if we would do it too, and that's our core responsibility, to have a functioning government open, and in the middle of all this chaos, that's the last thing that we need, is to shut our government down.
You think it'll work? I mean, you have one vote here.
Well, I agree with this. I mean, the first time I sat down with him after my campaign, we had just a private conversation. He told me that. He said, "I'm never going to vote to shut the government down. I don't believe on principle." And we'll see. I think it's inappropriate. I think it's irresponsible to hold the government hostage for some policy objective that we may have very different views on. I agree with the senator on that, and so we'll have to see. But I think it's my position and the senators that we should keep the government. And if you think about the people of Pennsylvania, that's absolutely what they want.
I mean, you clearly support each other. He's up at 28. Do you want to endorse him now?
Well, listen, here's the thing. He and I trust one another. He campaigned against me as I would have expected him to do. And after the campaign, we sat down and got to know each other. And, there's a lot of people in politics that you can't trust. He's not one of them. I trust him. I have faith in him. And we disagree on a lot of things. And that's the way it should be.
And you've been here with Senator Katie Britt. You've done other common grounds. You're reaching across the aisle.
Well, I mean, I think the last time we were here on your set, we were talking about stopping the scroll. I mean, this idea that how poisonous and damaging social media is. And now, if that impacts an adult, as it clearly seems like it has to the assassin, but now for teenagers as well too, it's part of the ongoing thing. It's like, Katie and I said that we're not here just for senators. We're here for his parents as too. And we have 3 young kids, and so that's another reason why we have to work together, because we all are, have families, and we've all going to be impacted by social media. And then I said that then, I think it's a sewer, and I think we need to address it.
Well, especially after this past week, thank you very much for coming in. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hope there's more of you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.